Hello everyone, welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. Well, I have quite a few things to show you guys in terms of scratch builds. So why don't we head over to the tabletop, and the first thing we're going to take a look at is the mining colony at the planet Boreas. So let's take a look at that. It's a Starbuilder issue topic, and then we'll go on to all of these scratch builds. This is not a tutorial video. I'm just giving you updates and giving you ideas on how I create some of these things. The full tutorials will be in Scratchbuilder monthly. All right, let's get on with it. Welcome to the ice mining colony at Boreas. Now, Boreas is an ice dwarf, very similar to Pluto. And in this month's issue of Starbuilder, which is my other zine, we talk all about ice giants and ice dwarfs. Now, Starbuilder is shifting focus a little bit. We're now talking about planets and world building and all the things that go into your solar system when you design your own solar system. So we're now going to a lot of world building, and scratch building is the key to bring all these concepts to life. I mean, these two zines go very much hand in hand. Starbuilder is sci-fi based, and you're going to see a lot of the scratch builds that I'm making now. You will see them appear in Starbuilder as well. Now, this is one of my favorite walkers, and this is a Prospector walker. This is a very large machine. These are 6mm mesh compatible, so this is a large machine. And what I did is I took a lot of my older walkers and I basically turned them into civilian vehicles. So if I want to turn this into a military vehicle, I can. Because these areas are magnetized, and so I can add weapons or whatever. But this one's very cool because it has this dish array. Now these dishes actually move downward and scan the ground. So it's designed to look for minerals and all kinds of things, geological faults, dangers, things like that. And this is completely magnetized, so it comes off. And if I want to turn that into a military vehicle, I can. So the little dish array there is all made of mesh and some springs, right? And then it's completely magnetized because it is on a washer, and so it goes right in the front there. There's another little magnet, and it can move, Now, the harvesters are also giant walkers. This one, you see the big crane-like thing, and this is actually a clothespin. So it is gripping a little stone, and this is removable as well. So it is magnetized, and it can turn, and it basically picks up the tonnage of material that will then be refined and processed. And then this walker acts like a giant dump truck. It's a carrier, and it has all the little stones inside there, and you can see it. And I know the lighting is a little dark, but that's on purpose because this is an ice dwarf. It is a very dark planet. So there it is. There's the harvester. And then we have a few of the security speeders that are patrolling the area, along with a large walker. We have these buildings. Now, these buildings, you're gonna read all about them in Starbuilder and how they move. These are actually rigs, and they could be used as individual buildings or as rigs. These are mesh tunnels that are removable. And we have some very large carriers here to load up on minerals. We have a nice communication array right there. And then there is an entrance to the underground areas of the colony. Most of the colony is actually underground, and you see all the little mesh troops coming out there. Now, let me talk about this one very briefly. This is a new concept I had. Now, this is an actual rig with a command module that acts as a tug. And basically, this thing moves around very slowly on gravity dampening technology. It won't carry the large orbiter, but it will move around where needed and then stop. So it's like a mobile landing platform. But this is it. This is a hypothetical ice mining colony with some very interesting components. And some of these vehicles could also be objectives in a fight. Horizon Wars rules, if you look at the expansion Over the Horizon, it has rules for creatures called kaiju, which are massive creatures, Godzilla-like creatures. So those would be good rules to use in a case like this. You know, a giant kaiju coming out of the ice and disrupting the operations. So there you go. I just wanted to show this because it is scratch build related. All right, let me show you some templates. So I decided to make some templates so that I can kind of plan out where the faction is going. Now, these are all prototypes. I don't know which I'm going to use yet or if I'm going to use all of them. This one is based on a terrestrial isopod. These are just templates. Notice how this thing kind of rolls like that. So it's like a roly-poly. That's what people call them. And, but this needs work. I mean, this is the armature, right? This is basically what I use the mesh for. It makes the armature, and then I gotta decide how I'm going to decorate things to make the invertebrates. This is obviously a centipede. We're gonna see what I come up with for that. And we have a scorpion. Now, I was thinking that I could use a template like this, change the tail a little bit, and do a prehistoric sea scorpion. And then make a vehicle that's actually amphibious, right? Have some like paddles on some of the legs. Make it look like an amphibious vehicle for landings. I think that would be really cool. Like, it would be pretty scary, this big sea scorpion machine just coming out of the ocean and onto the beach. That would be really, really cool. So I think I'm going to work on something like that. And there you go. I wanted to show the templates. Templates are very important. This is how every one of my builds begins. Okay, so let's take a look at the early stages of the second creature, and this way we can see how I put these things together. So here is how everything starts. We have the head here, which is just a cut piece from these little popsicle sticks, right? These are craft wood pieces that you can buy, and I usually get them at Walmart. You get them in big packs like that. They're very good for these invertebrate-like shapes. Now, part here that represents the body and the thorax, and then we have the head with the head shield. Notice the jaws. The jaws are made out of mesh. And I will show that in the Scratch Builder Monthly. Now for the neck, notice how I use a piece of the tiny clothespins that I'm using, and that becomes the head attachment. And it's very cool because in this way I can make the head swivel a bit so it looks more organic, right? So this thing can actually move its head. I'm assuming as a drone, as a robot machine, it would have all kinds of cameras and sensors and things here in the head. You'll see that in just a minute. And then this is the position of the legs. Now the legs for this particular creature are very short, and that's because they're more like landing gears. This thing wouldn't crawl. It relies on its hovering thrusters and gravity dampening technology to actually stay aloft, right, until it lands. Now in the back, I am going to put a hatch, and that's where the robot troops would emerge. So I just put a tiny bead of hot glue right here, and then I put a tiny bead right back here, and then that gives it sort of that dorsal arc that I want. And again, it's that skeletal shape. Now, a little bit later, what I do is I add some more pieces here, again, to close up the cage, almost like a rib cage there. And I realized that I can probably make skeletal creatures using this mesh for my 172 scale armies. I can probably make some interesting dinosaur skeletons. We'll see. That'll be a future project. So now all I do is I cut up some mesh in some nice long thin pieces. I'm not using cabling or anything like that, but I can stick the pieces that are going to resemble cable. I can stick them right into that hole there on each side, and then that'll be the cabling for that's connecting the head, you know, to the body. Notice also the hole here, the drilled hole, that's for the base. And in my 172 scale miniatures video series, I talk all about how I make these bases using felt and other materials. I still have to paint the sides here. So I'm not going to go over that right now in this video, but basically this is just cardboard with a piece of cable tie wrapped around it. That makes my base. It's nice and solid, and then I add the decorations. You'll see that in my other video when I talk about how I make bases for 172 scale models. It's the same exact thing I'm doing here. So right at the base, see, it goes right in, and then I use some heat to bend the cable into position. Okay, so using heat is important in order to get the plastic to do what I want it to do. I've already attached the cable here with a little bit of hot glue, and then all I need to do, I provide a little more heat, make it a little more S-shaped so that it goes along the edge here of the body, and I do something similar for the front. You're going to see that in Scratchbuilder monthly, but it's already, you know, it's coming out pretty cool. Okay, and there's the lower head assembly with the cabling. You notice how one of the cables goes in right inside that little clothespin piece, the wiring, and then the other one comes out here. And they're nice and sturdy once you get them in there, and it positions the head. It secures the head quite nicely. I mean, this is pretty sturdy. So now what I do is I work on the heat details for the head. I put in all of the different eyes that I use to represent, you know, all the different cameras and things that this thing has. And so now that the legs are bent downwards, I can put these large thrusters. They go right inside, right in there, around midway through the body. Okay, and so I hot glue those on. These are the heads of jumbo cable ties, and I saved these. They came in this product that I bought, and these are just like really big, so they make good like engines or something like that. And that's it, a very strange bug-like thing, robotic creature. Now what I'm gonna do is I have to finish the rest of the ribbing over here, like the cage that goes up here. That has to be finished, and then I gotta finish the face as well. And so I'll just add my little beads there, and that's it, you know. This project is just about done. I would give it a base, and now I have 2 of these. Now, let's say I want something a little different. I don't always want to focus on invertebrate-like walkers. Well, there's a lot of different animal body plans that I could use. This is actually from a prehistoric amphibian. That's where I took the idea of the backbone here. But notice, again, it has that same skeletal feature, right? By the way, this figure is not finished. I have a lot of work on this still. But you can see how with mesh you can make very interesting skeletal features. That gives me the idea that I can probably make some interesting dinosaur skeletons using this mesh. So there is a sort of the cage, and then I'm going to add more details here, probably complete that cage there. But I want to add some details, add some machines. This is kind of like, this is a mix between, you know, these bone-like structures and machinery, right? So it's a slightly different take on the whole sci-fi thing. And I like it. I like this thing. It's huge. It's a big, walking, lizard-like or amphibian-like thing. And there's the tank, so we can see the size. It's a big machine. It's going to have another primary weapon over here. I don't know yet what I'm going to do there. But I will probably add some missiles coming out the side, some missile launchers. We'll see. We'll see. And, you know, you can definitely do a lot with mesh. Mesh and clothespins. What a combination. Now, this strange combination of bone-like structure with, you know, machine and so forth, this is not a new concept. I am inspired by the art style called biomechanical art or biomechanical art style. This is a style pioneered by Swiss artist H.R. Geiger. Now, that design, that artwork that combines organic with machine, that kind of art style is what led to the creation of the xenomorph that we all know and love, right? Xenomorphs from the movie Alien and Aliens, these creatures are what you would refer to as biomechanical, you know? So they have that very organic looking exoskeleton, but there's also a very mechanical and machine like aspect to them. So that is the inspiration that I use, and I just wanted to add that note. We also see that art form in Prometheus, you know, and all the things that we see in Prometheus as well. Now I want to show something a little different because I have a very varied style of building. I love to build Navy ships. That is one of my hobbies. And I've been trying over the years to build smaller vessels that I can use in my games. But more importantly, these vessels have to be very simple to build. Now, I've built Navy ships in a variety of different scales from different time periods. And I like to play fantasy or alternate history with my ships. Now, I found a great little technique that works really, really well. It works fast. And I'm not ready to show this yet on Scratchbuilder, but this is meant to be basically simplicity, built for simplicity. These are not historically accurate in any way. They're just meant to be fast to build so that I can build small fleets and get on to gaming. So the ship here is actually a man of war, and then we have a frigate here. This is a steam-powered frigate. This is an ironclad, and I love that time period, that sort of transitional period between Age of Sail and Age of Steam, where you get these hybrid ships. I love that time period. So I'm also going to make more ironclads that I can use for future games. Now, these are pretty good scale. They're not very large at all, and very nice for gaming. Okay, so I will show you how I made these ships in future Scratchbuilder. And again, this is a technique that is much faster than any of the techniques that I've tried before. Let me just show you the scale difference. This is an older vessel that I made here. This is an older flagship. And this is the newer vessel here that I made. So you can see in terms of hull size, the scale, these are smaller. It's a much smaller scale, more practical in the wintertime for me when I have less space to play. Well, that's it, folks, and it is pouring outside. I don't know if you hear it in the background, but if you hear a fuzz or whatever, it is pouring outside. Anyway, that's all I have to show you for these scratch builds. All of these scratch builds will come slowly to Scratchbuilder Monthly. I am currently working on this alien army. So the next issue, July issue, is going to show you this vehicle here, these flying vehicles. You may also get, you're also going to get the giant snake-like creatures here. Those are going to be detailed in the next issue, and so is this one. I don't know if I'll have space to add the little ones there, but I may, because those are very, very easy to make, and you can make a swarm of those. And then in the future, we're going to also work on the troops themselves. I have some ideas for the robot troops. Now, sometime, I guess that'll bring us into August or September, maybe September's issue, I will start to detail these sailing vessels. Okay, we're going to go into ironclads and sailing vessels and do something a little different. Okay, I always like doing something a little different. I will add, when I have new bugs and things, biomechanical bugs, I will add those as well. Okay, and as far as the lizard-like creature, that's going to be a little bit later on. I'm going to try to get all my alien sci-fi things done first before I do the Navy ships. Okay, so this way we kind of focus on one thing and then finish it up, and then I'll do the Navy ships. All right, so just to give those of you who have an interest in my work, you'll know when these things will appear in Scratchbuilder Monthly. Check out my Patreon if you want to help support this work. Do check out my Patreon. It helps the channel a lot. It helps the studio a lot. And become patrons, and we have extra material there as well. Most of my games are now on Patreon. All right, have a great one, folks. I'll talk to you soon, and thank you very much for your support. Thanks for watching. Have a great one, and have fun with your building and with your games. Enjoy your games.